Yeah, it says on there.
Woo!
Now we'll know that when we start, it'll definitely be part of the video.
That part
We
of it.
won't have cut it off.
That's true. Or start in some random spot. All
That's
right.
what I mean. We always.
Oh, we got a minute. We got 2 minutes.
To midnight?
Till daylight. I like the intro from the last video a lot better. Hey, Wet.
Is anyone watching?
No?
Moderator.
Okay, 1. We're 3? Is it 3? All right, let's go. All right, welcome to Philbot Live. In this video, we're going over some commodity grade plastics with the goal of giving some general overview of these plastics. For the past 6 years, we've been working with these plastics to learn about how to recycle them with our Philbot systems, with the goal of utilizing the widest range of plastics. Let's take it away. We're going to go through and discuss each plastic, just give a general overview of it. Each of these plastics are commodity grade, which means they're used mostly for consumer products or products that are used in food packaging. And we're going to start with the most common, which is PET. It has the #1 recycling logo, symbol I should say. This one.
There's one that's got it written well. It's written well on it.
This one might be. Does it show up?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So this is most commonly used as a film material, very rigid, yes. Very durable material and is one of the most common materials that is used. With this material in our systems, we can do a 50-50 mixture right now, and we're working on making that better so that we can get to a point where we can take a water bottle, grind it up, and turn it into feedstock.
Does the #1 have significance? I know we're going to talk about the other numbers, but you said it's common, so it's like 1 mean it's the most common or something?
No. So, well, maybe. I actually don't know that, but I know that like PET doesn't absorb moisture, so that's why they use it in a lot of food or drink containers, because it doesn't absorb.
We'll get the answer to that question.
And we'll
hey, Josh,
test that.
Yeah.
can you pull up that answer? I asked that because I
Which
thought
was, yeah, what was the question?
the significance of the numbers, the 1 through 7.
I think it is, because as we go down, they're less used.
Okay, that was my understanding as well, but
Right.
we probably should have touched base and been 100% sure.
Oops.
My bad.
It's live.
It's live.
All right, next one is HDPE. This is a material that's kind of flexible. A lot of the times it's opaque or colored, used in milk jugs a lot, and has the #2.
And for people
You
that don't
can't
know
see
numbers.
it. I think people have seen numbers.
What do we got?
So the most toxic plastics are 7 and the least
Oh,
toxic are
that makes sense. That's why
Wow.
that's the food stuff and that's not food.
Okay, well, this will get interesting. HDPE is another durable material. And I guess that's another thing to bring up is as we go through these grades, you'll see different containers that look similar. The reason different manufacturers pick different grades is because, well, one, safety, food safety, depending on what material or what foods they're putting into these containers, what sort of liquids or whatever that are being used and contained, you have to match your plastic to make sure that you're not degrading or dissolving the container. So yeah, we'll keep going. So next one is PVC. Okay, I thought that one was next. PVC is a 3. And we actually, none of these things have the PVC on it. So we're just kind of guessing here, but debit cards, credit cards, binders, the films. Oh,
That
we're
says it.
definitely sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this valve is PVC, which stands for, I haven't heard pronouncing them. That's fun in itself.
Maybe at the end.
Maybe at the end. All right, so there's PVC, used in a lot of valves, a lot of industrial. I've seen a lot of industrial components made from it. CDs. That's another thing, actually. Since this material does not have that logo, you can't recycle this stuff. So all this stuff here, because there's no logo, you have to throw it away. And that's like That's pretty bad.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. But the other thing is like PVC, if you get it too hot, it can create chloride gas, which isn't really good. So we actually don't recommend that Philibot users use that in their systems.
So those of you that were in college at the same time I was, and you were microwaving CDs because you thought it was cool, and then breathing in the fumes as you opened the door, we shouldn't have been doing that.
It might explain a few things. Or if you get those AOL CDs, you might be a little far past that. All right, so next one, LDPE. This one is the brother to HDPE. It is a more flexible type. It's low density compared to the high density. And there's actually UMHW, which is ultra high, or UHMW, which is ultra high molecular weight HDPE. Not one with a recycling symbol, but LDPE in itself is used in shopping bags a lot. We all do not like these things. Used in shopping bags, lids, bread bags, containers again. It has a little bit, it's not as dense, so it's a little bit softer. Yeah, so this is interesting. The whole recycling around these bags is, a lot of times you have to throw them away because the facilities that take the recycled plastics aren't capable of recycling plastic bags. Right. You know, certain facilities are set up to recycle certain grades, and if they're not set up for it, they just throw it away.
And we're learning a lot about that.
Yeah.
The differences in recycling something like this. It's
A film and thin.
film versus, a rigid plastic.
Right. Or like a hard chunk, like a solid, yeah.
Right. And this might be a good time because you were mentioning some of the sub-brands over there. We wanted to show everybody, this is an example of, these aren't all the types of plastic. These are just some, what was this, the parent
Grades.
Parent grade of what?
That's PET.
So these are different types of PET plastic. So it's not when we talk about PET plastic that it's one thing, so it's easy to get a bearing on how we're going to recycle that. It could be any of these, and all of these need to be handled slightly differently, or could need to be handled slightly differently, depending on what they are.
Or will perform differently in our systems when you put them in.
Sure.
Yeah. So there's so many different grades, and I mean, you can have different additives and plastics. Like some of these on here have like fiber infused, which will create a whole nother issue of recycling. Yeah. All right, moving on. We have polypropylene, number 5, PP. A lot of the time that is used in containers, again, for food. And these are some of the items that are made from polypropylene. One thing I do want to bring up, this lid here, in Vermont, Casella does not accept these, which is
Our major recycler for those of you outside of the area.
Right. They do not accept black plastic of any of these grades for recycling because this color will change the color of all the other grades. So we have to throw these away, which is awful because most of the time these materials are brand new virgin materials, right? Which are great for recycling because they haven't been reprocessed over and over again. So that's one good thing that we're looking into is like, okay, let's use our systems to recycle plastics and waste streams like this.
It's interesting, we mentioned the toxicity as we get deeper here, and here's a thing that we're putting our mouth to with, that we're warming it up.
What level of toxicity?
I don't know. I certainly can't speak to that. That's not really something we dig into too much, but it's something.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the whole Nalgene thing with the BPH
Right.
and not sure what that did to us.
We don't know.
All right, moving on. Number 6, polystyrene. So this is an interesting one. A lot of the times this will be used for insulated mugs. So Dunkin' Donuts coffee mug, plates, right? It has that foam texture where the polymer is expanded. I believe they use steam when they extrude this, but it can also be used as like a thin film. It has that kind of like plasticky.
It's satisfying to crinkle.
Yeah.
That noise probably doesn't come through well on the microphone, but it's fun.
This one's really easy to extrude. So we've done this with, was it polystyrene or polypropylene? The spoons. So we're taking spoons, grinding them up, and turning them back into filament 3D printing. That was fun. So really interesting material. One thing we haven't done yet is played with the expanded stuff. So that'd be fun to do. Fun to play with.
It's on the roadmap.
Yeah. All right.
There's so many as we already saw.
There's so many.
We can't do all of them, and we can't mix like this and this.
No.
And do that. We've got to get a whole bunch of these.
Right.
To experiment. So we
have to drink a lot of coffee.
So much coffee.
Oh, we should write the K-cups out. K-cups is, I believe, polypropylene.
Go grab them.
That's what we're working on.
We'll grab that later. All right, so next, this is like a catch-all category, number 7. Number 7, it's really interesting because sometimes they'll put the logo, the number 7 logo on the material, but really no facilities will accept that because there's so many, I mean, like I said, it's a catch-all. It's where all the other plastics go if they're getting a recycling logo on it. And that'll become important when I talk about our next grade or area.
I was thinking we get the ones that,
Oh, yeah.
that we've been. Well, we can do both. Yeah.
How about the ones that we used?
So this is a good example. If you've used K-cups, you know that you've probably opened them up like we have because that's fun. And you see that there's so much stuff in there. So if you wanted to clean, what's our minimum to do a real test? 10 pounds?
Yeah, we're using 10 pounds for this study.
Take that K-cup, pull that coffee out, pull all the other stuff out, and you get one of these, which weighs nothing, and we need 10 pounds of them. So we've got this bin, like this is, I don't know, the last few weeks of what we drink here.
Jeremy's gonna clean them. Hasn't Jeremy volunteered to clean them, everyone?
This was the plastic that Jeremy wanted to work on. I'm Jeremy. But what we ended up doing, because I will go insane cleaning, because that's gonna break down to what, this?
Yeah,
Like that's not even close. So this box, this is our 10 pounds. I mean, we're kind of going on a tangent. We should pull back.
Yeah, we
but,
should.
This is what we do. There's a lot involved for us to test. One of the. Do you feel better? One of the types of plastic out of the bajillion kinds of plastic. Thank you, Josh.
Okay, so catch-all. We're back into. This is just an interesting category. I honestly don't know why they have this category. I think most of the time they do it so the manufacturers feel happy about it.
But I mean, a place to put it. They got to put it somewhere.
They got to guard the landfill.
Yeah.
I don't know. But these materials are like new materials, oven bags. They're higher temp materials. A lot of times your glasses are made from that, I guess. The frames and such. Caps for spray paint, remote controls, computer cases. And then this also dives off into our next area, which is just the plastic grade. So you've seen all these before in our videos, and these are just raw plastics in their industrial form, right? Their pellet form. These materials obviously don't have a logo on them, so you can't recycle these. Like we couldn't bring this to Casella and dump it in their bin or whatever.
We could, but they'd hate us.
Oh God, they would hate us. So that's where it really gets interesting because if the logo's gone, if it's worn off, they don't know what type of plastic it is, and then they can't recycle it. So that was that list we were showing is like all those different grades. That's when you get really complicated properties, processing properties, and that's I think where our machines shine is because we're trying to recycle all these materials, and then also the full list we were showing is something that we're working through to make sure our systems can recycle that because there's so many waste streams like that lid, the K-cups that are discarded and thrown away. So we're hoping to create the machines that utilize that widest range of plastic. The last one I wanted to bring up, which we actually don't have on the table, is PLA and more general bioplastics and plant-based plastics. That could have been a tongue twister. So glad it wasn't. So those plastics are plastics that are made from plant-based materials, whereabouts most of these materials were made from oil-based. And how are we on time?
Way over.
37? Wow. All right, so those materials are marketed as a green material, a material that is going to replace oil-based and be good for the environment, right? But the problem is that those materials will create the same issues as these plastics here, where they're littering our lands, our waterways, and our oceans. And then we have all the animals eating them.
But they're made from corn, so it must be okay.
I mean, they're made from corn, but they're still hydrocarbon based, right? So they pull it. It derives us, it gets us away from oil, but it doesn't solve the whole issue of plastic that is littering.
And that's really the myth, right? It's made of corn, so it must be fine. It's going to break down, but
It only breaks down in special facilities at certain temperatures, and if it's floating in the ocean, it never gets that hot.
Right.
So there's a bunch of issues we're exploring. I think the bioplastics and the green plastics would be a great topic to cover in a future video. But yeah, that's our general overview of plastics and different grades. The point of the video was to give you those overview and show you that all the intricacies and a few issues with waste plastic. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, we'd love to help you answer them, explore them, and see if our systems can help you utilize the waste plastic you have around you. So thank you. Until next time, I'm Tyler.
Go to philbot.com.
Oh, yeah, that's not on the back of the shirt.
It's on mine. Woo! Represent.